Never, ever, ever give up. When it comes to any issue in life, never give up. Now, I'm going to talk to you about a story about two men that I used to know and the power of the idea of never giving up. In fact, the other thing I could really say here, it's mind over matter. And that's going to become very important to this story. Now, many years ago, there was these two men that I knew socially. I used to do karaoke at the pub all the time. There was a whole bunch of people there that I knew. We all knew each other. It was a great atmosphere to have. And one day, I'll change the names. One of the men, I'm going to call him Billy, he was told that he had cancer. And of course, I'm sure that hearing that news, no matter who you are, however old you are, where you are, that's going to be pretty devastating news. But Billy, when he heard it, he said to himself, well, I'm going to beat it. Now, Billy was quite a drinker. He was a smoker. He didn't have the most healthy lifestyle. He used to have a lot of fried foods and stodgy foods. I don't think I ever saw him eating anything that you could classify as healthy. But when Billy got told that he had cancer, he was all in. It was about, right, what can I do? I'm going to stop the drinking. I'm going to stop the smoking. I'm going to change how I eat. And he had a whole bunch of people support him in his family, his friends, his co-workers. He had all the support, but he had this belief inside him that no, this is not going to define me and this is not going to beat me. And as I said, he changed everything, mind over matter. At first he cut down to light beers, then non-alcoholic drinks, and then he just started to drink no alcohol at all. He went from having all these fried foods like chips and sausages and so forth to having more salads, more healthy foods, whole foods. But he always had in his mind, this is not going to define me. I'm going to beat this. And he had to go and he had chemotherapy. He actually had to have a double colostomy bag. Things were that severe with the type of cancer that he had and the operations he had to have. A double colostomy bag. But he never stopped thinking that, no, this is not going to define me. I'm going to beat this thing. And he was such an inspiration to so many people. Week after week after week, we used to see him down the pub and he'd get up there and sing his favorite Elvis songs. And it was amazing to watch and to know what he was going through with the chemotherapy and anything that he was doing with the specialists, the double colostomy bag and everything else. Just to see him week after week after week, it was incredible. Billy was doing an amazing job. Now, a short while later, there was another guy, and I'm going to call him Tom. Tom was also told that he had cancer. And the day he found out, he turned to his partner and he said, I'm done for. Now, I can't say what exactly he said because YouTube won't exactly appreciate that, but he basically said straight away, I'm gone, I'm dead. And fast forward a few months later, and Tom died. Tom passed away of cancer. And it was a shame because we all came to see him on one particular day. I was out working. And the day that he died, I literally arrived at the hospital 5 minutes too late. And he'd gone. It turned out that as I was parking my car was when he slipped away. It was very, very sad. And there's a lot to take in from what I just said about Tom's initial reaction when he said, I'm done for, I'm gone, I'm dead. He said that straight away. And he must have believed that. He must have hung on to that. He mustn't have thought that there was a way out. That, oh, I've got cancer. It's just one of those things. Now, I know this is a very heavy subject to talk about, but I've seen these people go through this. I've had cancer touch my family's life. My uncle passed away of cancer as well. And it's a topic that a lot of people don't want to listen to. And we have to trust the medical profession. We have to, do what we're told and so forth. But no one really talks to you about the power of the mind and that spirit of never giving up. Now, when Tom got told he had cancer, he clearly believed that was it. And he lived the last few months of his life with that belief. And whilst he never really spoke to people openly about the fact that I'm going to die, I've got this and I can't beat it, the fact that he was saying that to his partner, and we all heard about that, you just knew how he was living his life in those final months. And like I said, he passed away. Billy, on the other hand, didn't pass away. In fact, he went into remission and he completely rebuilt his life. He survived cancer. He totally built it between following the medical advice, but having that belief in the back of his mind that this is not going to beat me. I'm going to change my lifestyle, change my habits, and I'm going to beat this thing He did. And it was only a few months ago, now that I'm recording this video, that Billy actually passed away. Different situation altogether. But the story I'm talking about with these two men happened 10 years ago, maybe even a fraction longer, a long time ago now. And unfortunately, Tom didn't believe that there was anything possible. There was nothing he could do about it. Whereas Billy had that never give up mentality. I'm not going to let this thing define me. I'm not going to let this thing beat me. Now, one of my ex-girlfriends, she also had cancer several times. It was melanoma cancer. But she also had the belief of, this is not going to beat me. I'm not going to let this thing take control of me. Mind over matter. Never giving up. Never giving up on the belief that I can do this. Never for once downloading the fact of, oh, well, the doctor says I've got 3 months, so therefore I've got 3 months. In fact, the thing I've found is the more people who I've met in my life who have either had somebody in their family or a friend pass away from cancer, or they have themselves passed away of cancer, the big underlying thing there is that the doctor says 3 months, they believe 3 months. And then within 3 months, they're gone. And people went, wow, how can the doctors be so accurate? It's because they believed, they heard 3 months. And their subconscious mind believed it and went, okay, 3 months. Well, let's just start the countdown. And that's how it happened. And I guarantee if you speak to a lot of people who have been touched by cancer in their lives, they'll share a very similar story to you. You know, wow, how did the doctors know it was going to be 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 2 years, whatever it might be? And it's so accurate. How did they know? It's the power of the mind. So the reason why I'm talking about this particular story, never give up, is never give up on anything. If somebody says to you, you've got cancer, don't for a second believe that that's the end. Because there are thousands and thousands of people all over the world who chose not to believe it, who changed their lifestyle, changed their way of thinking, believed that they were going to get healthy again, worked with the medical profession alongside of all these beliefs, and they're still around. Or if they have passed away, it's because it may have been of old age or a different cause. As I said, I know this is a very controversial topic. There are going to be some of you watching this thinking, oh, you are talking absolute bollocks. If you got cancer, that's it. There's nothing you can do about it. You're gone. But as I said, I've seen what happens in my friendship circles. I've seen what happens in my family. My uncle passed away of cancer. Now, in his particular instance, he was also on heavy medication for a condition he had in his body, and it was the medication that was a contributing factor to that cancer. I don't think there was much that could have been done, and he wasn't really prepared to try something else alongside medication. He was strong in his mind, but at the same time, it still overcame him. But that huge thing, that mind over matter, never giving up, never, ever, ever giving up, it's so important. Now, I'm not telling you this story just in case one day you get told that you have an illness as well that someone says is terminal, whether that be cancer or anything else. Never giving up and mind over matter is with everything. Never give up on your dreams. Never, ever give up on your dreams. Always believe that you can achieve something. Always believe that you can overcome adversity. And we've seen so many stories about this. Now, I think one of the best films out there for that is Rocky. It really is that underdog story. Even The Party Bus, once again, the link is in the description below. It's one of those stories where you can do anything you want to, just put your mind to it. Never stop believing. There's that wonderful song by Journey, Don't Stop Believing. There are so many stories, films, songs. It all basically says exactly the same thing. And one of the things I've found has helped in my life a lot is affirmation. Affirmation is one of those things, if you watch The Secret, you would have heard about it there. If you've ever been someone who's read or watched anything from, say, Louise Hay, she was all about affirmations to learn to love yourself and self-healing and everything. She truly believed that affirmations were a way to really improve our life. Now, the way an affirmation works is you say something such as, I love myself, or as was it Muhammad Ali said, I'm the greatest. Muhammad Ali is the best example of this. I'm the greatest, he used to say to himself, I'm the greatest. Now, the first time he told himself that, maybe even the 100th time he told himself that, he may not have believed it. But he never gave up on the fact that he wanted to be the greatest. He never gave up on the belief that he could be the greatest. And whilst he said, I'm the greatest, it may not have been a belief to start with, it became a belief. And he's gone down in history as one of the greatest boxers in history because he had that belief. He never gave up. Now, one of the things I've found that is key to never giving up is to have something to keep us accountable. And one of the things that I have found in my life, which is amazing to keep accountable, is Exit 9. Now, whether you are a content creator, a entrepreneur, or a business owner, having accountability of a community, but also just something or someone that knows you so well and knows your goals and your structure, being held accountable is the best way to never give up. You can take a huge goal, turn it into small actionable steps, and by keeping the accountability, you keep moving forward and you never give up, and you work step by step toward a goal, a dream, whatever it might be. Now, there's a link in the description to Exit 9. The way Exit 9 works, it's mostly AI-based, but it is the most intelligent AI system you're ever going to have in your entire life. More powerful than ChatGPT or Claude or anything else out there. This is so tailored to you. It understands you so, so well. ChatGPT tells you what you want to hear. It would agree with almost everything you say. Exit 9, if you put something in there, it will say, well, hang on, but you've spoken about this and this and this, and this is not in line with that. Or, look, that is a good idea, but not now. Or it could be along the lines of, I love what you're doing, keep going, you are smashing the goals, you're right on track. Journaling every single day, which you can do at Exit 9 as well, is a great way to keep yourself focused, being consistent, and keeping on track. So if you are a content creator on YouTube or anything on social media, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, click on the link in the description below for Exit 9. You're going to absolutely love it. It's changed my life in such a short term for the better. The accountability is amazing. I love it. You're going to love it too. So click on that link down below. Now, as I've said in many of my videos, I'm neurodivergent. I've got my sparkles. And I will tell you now that I think, from my experience, being neurodivergent and also having a lot of bullying in my life and not being accepted, and I think really that does come from a lot of the neurodivergency, especially the non-acceptance part of things, it has been in the past very easy for me to let people win, let the bullying win, all the bullying that now lives in here and between my ears rather than actually out there physically with other people. It can be so easy to give up on dreams, goals, ambitions, whatever it might be. Our health, we can let ourselves get depressed and we can fall into that rabbit hole where we give up on everything. We give up on hope. We give up on happiness. We give up on our dreams. We give up on friendships. We give up on whatever it might be, eating healthy. Never, ever, ever give up. And if you're neurodivergent like me, whether you've got autism, Asperger's, dyslexia, ADHD, whatever it might be, we can definitely feel it maybe heavier than people who are not neurodivergent. So if you want to do something in your life and people are holding you back, never give up. Never stop. I made another video called Never Let the Bastards Win. I'll link it at the end of this video. I hope that you go off and watch that one. In fact, I recommend that you watch that one. Never give up. Don't stop believing. Don't stop achieving. If someone says to you, you can't do something, don't believe them. If you have times of doubt, and we all have times of doubt, don't believe it. Never give up. If you're told that you've got a certain sickness, never give up. In fact, I've actually had this experience myself in my own life where I just didn't give up. Now, years ago, I had my appendix out and I was in hospital for several days, and I must admit, see, I've always been naive. And the day of the surgery, I'm lying in bed and I was in pain, of course, and I had all these tubes coming out of me to drain all these fluids and gases out and so forth. And the nurse hands me the bedpan thingy, to go to the toilet. And halfway through the day, I hadn't been drinking a lot. And she said to me, listen, if you don't go to the toilet, we're going to have to put a catheter inside you. And being naive, I had no idea what a catheter was until I got told. And I thought to myself, no, that's not happening. I am definitely not having a catheter, because I don't need somebody stinking a tube inside me that way. That, to me, that was the most unpleasant thought possible. So I started drinking as best as I could, and I was lying down. It wasn't comfortable to drink. But to make myself go to the toilet, I was determined not to let the nurses win. I was not going to give up on not having to have this catheter put inside me. So what I did, I used the power of my mind and affirmations to basically remember and reflect on what does it feel like to go to the toilet. Let's feel that feeling of the sensation of when the body releases and you go. And I'm talking about number ones here, not number twos. And I just kept focusing on that again and again and again and again. I think I did this for 2 or 3 hours. And I had the bedpan tub thingy in the bed with me. And I had it, between my legs. And there was a moment there where I got one drop out. One drop. And the second that happened, I said, right, I've got this. I'm not letting you win. I'm not letting these nurses win. An hour later, the nurse comes back, And there it is, full. I'd filled the thing up. Now, I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't walk to the toilet because after you've had your appendix out, you can't walk at all. Everything hurts. The smallest little bump hurts. The pain is just huge. And if you've ever had your appendix out, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But once again, mind over matter. I was not going to have that catheter put inside me. I never gave up on the idea that I was going to be fine by myself and I could go to the toilet naturally rather than having to have more tubes put inside me. I never gave up. I refused to believe what they told me. And that was my lesson to learn that I could do that. In 2023, I was in Edinburgh doing the Fringe Festival there. We were putting on our comedy show. It was one of the best experiences of my life. I thoroughly enjoyed it, as did the two guys I was doing comedy with. But I had a back injury whilst we were there. I was sleeping in a really horrible bed and I dislocated one of my discs in my lower back, which led to my nerve being pressed all the way down my left leg, and it became sciatic pain, and it was excruciating. And I had to go off and see a chiropractor. I had to see him 3 times a week for several weeks. And the rehabilitation process is long. But I remembered what it was like to get my appendix out. I was not going to let it beat me. I knew what my uncle had gone through with his back issue. I was not going to let that happen to me. I never gave up on the idea, the thought, the vision in my mind that I was going to heal and walk properly again. My disc was going to repair, my back would be perfect again, and the pain would go away. And I used to park my car. It was a 10-minute walk to the chiropractor, and it hurt like hell to walk, but I knew that walking was helping me. I never gave up on knowing that everything I was doing, icing my back, seeing the chiropractor 3 times a week, walking more, eating less, keeping my fluids up, doing the exercises that I was recommended to do, I never gave up on the fact, I never gave up on the idea that I was going to beat it. And week after week after week, and I'd go there, the improvements were showing, to the point where within several months, he was saying to me, wow, your recovery is so much faster than so many other people's. And I said, look, I'm following your advice, but I had the mental image. I never gave up. I knew that I was going to walk again, walk properly. I knew that the pain would go away and that I would heal completely. And I have. So I've gone through this twice before in my life. Now, there haven't been life-threatening illnesses, granted, but I have truly learnt mind over matter and never give up. Never give up on the belief. And that is the most important thing here. Never give up on the belief. Now, I know that I'm rambling here. I'm saying the same thing again and again and again, but repetition is the first law of learning. Never give up on anything. If you've got a dream, never give up on the dream. If you've got a goal for business or a hobby or whatever it might be, never give up. If you're starting a business and it's not going so well, never give up. Constantly do more of what's working and do less of what's not working, but never give up. Break it down into small little chunkable steps. Never give up. If you're starting a YouTube channel, never give up. Now, I've got a second YouTube channel, Newton Grove. It's all about model railways. I post there every single week. In my first 12 months, I have been consistent. There have been days where I haven't felt happy at all, or I wanted to make content, but I never gave up. And I just held on to the consistency. I post every single week. And in my first 12 months of really taking that seriously, my channel went from 700 subscribers to almost 5,000 subscribers in 1 year. Now, I'd had the channel for 7 years, but in that 1 year of being consistent and mind over matter and never giving up, showing up when I didn't want to, that channel's grown so well. I'm doing the same thing now on this channel every single week. I'll be honest with you. You may have seen it or hear it. I'm sitting outside right now. It's raining. It's cold. The wind, it's blowing quite heavily. Now, I could have given up and gone, oh, I don't want to film because of the conditions or whatever, I'll choose another day. No, this is the day that I'm free. I'm working toward a goal. I'm working toward a goal to bring my message to my audience, to you, to talk about what I've gone through, to enrich our lives, to help myself through my own sparkles and my neurodivergency and everything, and hopefully something resonates with you. So I'm not giving up on my intention. I'm not giving up on my dreams, my goals. And I hope that you can do exactly the same. Never give up on anything that you want to do or that you're doing. If you're told that you're sick, don't buy into it, whatever it might be. If you are sick, mind over matter. You can beat this, no matter what it is. Now, okay, if you've had, your arm cut off or your leg amputated, well, that's a different story. It's not going to grow back as such, but never give up. There are so many wonderful stories out there of people who overcame adversity. Look at people in the Paralympics, for example. There are people who have got limbs missing. There are people who are, who are disabled in some particular way, but they never gave up. They don't believe the limitations of the human mind. Oh, you can't do this because, or you can't do that because. Never, ever, ever give up. As I said, I know I'm repeating myself, but I really hope that I'm just instilling that into you, because saying this was also really instilling this into me as well. There's been things I almost have given up in my life. But now that I'm speaking to you and I'm remembering all this, I know, don't give up. Because one of these days, I don't want to be lying there thinking, if only I hadn't given up, if only I'd kept going, if only I hadn't listened, if only I hadn't let people tell me I couldn't do things, if only I hadn't been mentally strong to overcome any adversity in my life. I'm doing this for me, I'm doing this for you. Do me a favor now, please comment below. Have you gone through anything in your life where you have been able to overcome it? Where you've said, no, I'm not letting this beat me, this is not defining me? Do you never give up on anything? Or have you given up on things? Have you given up on your dreams or your goals? Have you given up on your health, for example? Have you let yourself go and you're now 4 times the size you used to be? Are you currently sick and you believe that, well, this is just the way it is? Never give up. Believe that you can get better. Believe that you can heal. Believe that you can have the job you want, the dreams you want, the house you want, the career you want, whatever it might be. I want to hear from you. Comment on what it is. Do you believe what I'm saying, or do you think I'm talking absolute nonsense? Whatever it is, please comment below. And while you're there, please subscribe, hit the bell, because I'm trying to build a nice community here of people who haven't just got neurodivergency or some sparkles like I have. I just want to build up a community because this is all about life, getting our way through life the best way we can, being happy, accepting who we are, learning self-love and embracing everything, and learning to laugh at things, learning to laugh at ourselves and life around us as well. I'll talk about comedy and my comedy journey in the future as well. And it's all about learning how to laugh at the stage of life. It's Monty Python, always look on the bright side of life. So please subscribe, please comment below. I'd love to have you here on the channel. In the meantime, this has been Identity Crisis. I've been Jonathan, and I'll see you next time.